tanpa kita perpanjang, kita akan serahkan langsung waktu kita terhadap Greg ya, dan pastikan buat teman-teman yang membutuhkan translation dalam bahasa Indonesia, bisa pilih interpretation di bawah, lalu pilih dari English to Chinese ya. Itu nanti langsung akan ditranslate oleh teman kita Abdi. Abdi jangan lupa nantinya mute-nya ya, karena khusus untuk translation. Oke? Oke, mari kita serahkan dan mungkin kita kasih tepuk tangan buat Greg. Come and join us, Greg. The Zoom is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to share a screen here for a presentation, and we'll spend some time looking at a few slides that I've prepared, and then also, in addition to that, we will go into some hands-on demonstration for the product. So hopefully this is full screen. Are you able to see my my first slide here?
Yeah.
Yep. All good? Okay, excellent. Thank you. It's first time I've used this system with you, so let me know if I do something wrong. So what I want to talk to you about today is the Waves commercial audio products. We have been shipping these products for a couple of months now. Last year, you may remember we initially announced the products, and I'm very excited now because we're actually starting to deploy the products out in the field. So on the camera here, this is one of the products that I'll be talking about today. And we will we'll definitely look at the two products that we have, the CA1000 and the CA2000. If you're not familiar with Waves already, just give me a quick minute to tell you that Waves is probably something that you've heard in any major motion picture, movies, film production, just about every recording, audio recording, and in fact, all the Grammy winners at the Grammy Awards this last week all use Waves processing. So we have leading edge digital signal processing, which is often used as plugins in studios, in broadcast, and of course in live sound and touring. You will probably, you may not recognize the name, but you've probably heard our processing in anything that you listen to, including in a wide range of consumer products. So that's my introduction to Waves. Let's talk about the commercial audio products themselves. So the Waves CA products, the CA1000 and CA2000, are professional digital signal processing or DSP engines that we've made in order to improve the audio quality in virtually any type of installation. So there's two models. There's the CA1000 and then the CA2000. The main difference between the two is the processor that's inside, which allows us to do up to 64 by 64 streams on the 2000, and it's a smaller processor, so we do 16 by 16 streams on the CA1000. The rest of the units are the same as far as they have the same actual software that runs inside. So when I show you the demonstration, you will see that I'm running on one system, but it could actually apply to any of our systems. To give you a little better idea here, this is the CA1000. It's a 1U half rack system. So this easily mounts into a standard equipment rack. On the front panel, you see there's a power switch with a little LED indicator. And on the rear panel is your connections. The most important connection, of course, is the network connection, which is your Dante network. So we use Dante for all of the audio connections between your installation and the Waves CA products. And then when you're first setting up the system as an integrator, you would have a mouse, a keyboard, and a display panel. those don't need to remain on the system when you're using it. They're only there really for your setup, or if you need to come in and do some local maintenance. That's what those are for. The CA2000 is a 2U system, also a half rack. So that's the system that I showed you earlier. So this system mounts as well in half a rack space. So you can put it on a rack shelf and still have another half rack space available for any other utilities that you may have. Or you may have an installation where you want multiple Wave CA devices side by side in the rack. So again, on this system, one of the things that you have is actually an EtherCon connector for the Dante port, and then a second port that can be used for a auxiliary network control as well. And then of course the USB and display connectors. The Wave CA products are built on top of products that we've been shipping for years and are used every day in studios, in live productions, in live events. And these are the Super Rack software, which you'll be seeing soon. If you're already familiar with Super Rack, then it'll be obviously very familiar to you. We have selected a set of Waves premium plugins that are very low latency and are ideal for the installation market. And then finally, we use the Dante DVS, Dante Virtual Sound Card, to bring the Dante network into Super Rack so that you can do all of your network routing to and from the Wave CA product over the Dante network. So we'll look at that and actually set up a system here as well, so you can see how all that works together. I mentioned that we have a set of plugins that we use with the system, and all these come together. Of course, you're free to use them however you want to set up your client networks, but we start with, on the systems, a set of presets that have been custom built by professionals in the installation market in order to give you a head start and maybe be able to cover 90–95% of your needs right out of the box. So these presets handle making sure that handheld or head-worn microphones sound very good, take care of things like feedback, give you consistency in the audio control, and for the streaming applications, we also have a set of presets that allow you to just bring up a preset, select the type of streaming application you'll be doing, and everything, all of the processing has already been set up for you. So it's really an easy matter of routing your channels that you'd like to stream to the CA system, and then take the outputs onto your streaming device. So a very good set, about 19 presets that are there. There's also an automatic mixing component by Dan Dugan that we'll talk about a little bit later as well, for handling multiple microphones in an installation. So we'll talk about that specifically and show how that's set up as well. Any of these presets that I mentioned can be saved to your specific needs. So of course, we give you a starting point, but if you find that for the type of room that you're installing in or the type of microphone you're using, you need to make little adjustments, maybe the high end of the EQ needs to change a little bit, you can save that as your own preset. If you use that device in different installations, you may want to actually save that and store it, email it to yourself to be able to put on other CA systems. So it's very transportable once you set up the preset chains that you want to have. And in fact, if there's certain plugins that you're aware of that give you additional capabilities that are part of our package, you can put those in the chain as well. So it's completely customizable to the installation that you're doing. I'm sorry, I think a mic was unmuted there for a second. All right, and we will be doing questions, of course, near the end here, so hold those and keep those in mind. So let's look at a very typical installation. So this is, think of it as a two-zone type of installation. With this diagram, I have zones that might be a multi-purpose room that has a main room with a rather strong PA system, and then maybe in a lobby area I have a 70-volt system with ceiling mount speakers or some other way of doing lobby types of sound. In addition, I may have a set of outputs that are going to a web stream. So maybe this is something like a community center or a government room where I have both on-site event attenders, as well as I need to be able to stream that online. So you can see in this example, the Waves CA system sits in the network and not only takes all of the input channels, so in this case it might be wireless and wired mics, maybe a playback system, but then sends those or process them and sends them to the output. So whether it's the amplifier or the streaming PC, this is all what the CA system is meant to do, and be able to do the processing at a very high quality, really studio quality or CD quality level, so that not only does the room sound good, but so too will the online stream that your client is providing to their audience. So I mentioned the multi-purpose room. Obviously, you guys work in all types of installations, whether they're meeting rooms, public facilities. Here in the United States, as we come out of the pandemic, we're seeing fitness centers and gymnasiums actually have both on-site as well as online streaming of their exercise classes, so that people that still are in home environments can actually take a live stream of the fitness class right into their own homes. Obviously, restaurants, malls, bar, the whole gamut of installations that you do on a day-to-day basis are all very likely places where your ability to provide a higher quality audio will be able to be done with the Waves product. So these spaces. I don't need to go through each of these bullets in detail, but I know that you do this on a day-to-day basis.
Greg, can you
Yes.
please stop for a while, because I saw that someone just came in, right? Some people just came in, just joining. I just want to make sure to them that teman-teman yang baru aja join, teman-teman yang baru aja join, yang mengharapkan mendengarkan dalam bahasa Indonesia, bisa langsung pilih translation di bawah, bisa langsung mendengarkan, pilih translation di bawah, lalu pilih English to Chinese, karena Indonesia itu nggak ada. karena translationnya Indonesia nggak ada, jadi bisa pilih English to Chinese, gitu. Nanti teman-teman bisa mendengarkan langsung dalam translation in real time dari Abdi. Okay, sorry Greg.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'd like to do here is go ahead and switch over from the slides and show you actually on a system how you would set up the system when you first receive it, so that you know the basic steps to getting your Dante signals into the system and being able to get the processing preset set up. So I'm going to go ahead here and switch over to let's start with, okay. This should show you the Waves CA. So I have a Waves CA 1000 set up here on my system. And you'll see that this system is set up to have 16 racks. As I mentioned, the Waves CA 1000 is a 16 by 16 configuration, which means you can have 16 Dante streams coming in and 16 Dante streams coming out for your audio. So this is all pre-configured. There's nothing here you need to do. I just wanted to show you here in the configuration that the system's already set up. If I was showing you a, yes, if I was showing you a Waves CA 2000 system, then this would be set up for 64 channels or 64 racks. So when you see the full set of, I'm sorry, was there a question or am I just hearing things in the background? Okay, I think I have an echo happening. Hopefully that's okay. Thank you. So we have a main overview screen here. And again, this is the Super Rack application. So there's a number of training videos that talk about Super Rack in detail that you can find on the Waves site. And so you'll see that there's a view that you can see 16 racks at a time. And so what we'll do is we'll go into one of these racks in order to set up a preset for us to take a look at. So if I go to the first rack, and first of all, I'm just going to select here from the factory presets, you'll see that the Waves CA presets are available in 4 main groups. So you have main output processing. This includes some basic presets to get you up and going for a PA system with and without sub speakers. We have a group of presets for master streaming. And so there's 4 in here. We'll talk about a couple of these as we go through the presets. These mic speech inputs are probably the presets that I would imagine you'll use the most in your installations. There's a number of them here. They all have different characteristics based on the type of microphone. But all of the elements, again, you can use to process whatever type of microphones that you're using, whether they're tabletop microphones for a forum or handheld microphones used by professional speakers or used by an audience as a QA mic. All of these things are taken account in our presets. And so feel free to look through these, and you can, take some elements, the plugins from one and add them to others, but these will give you starting points for each of these microphone types. And then we have some presets that are designed to support what we would call the subgroups. This is if you have a system where you're submixing multiple types of streams, and you want to do kind of a final processing on those streams. So we have this for microphones as well as for a general purpose playback. So if you have different sources of audio and you want to make sure that they're not only level but also sound very similar without overly compressing them, just cleaning up the overall sound of that stream, we have a very nice preset here for the Playback Group. And then we also have a pretty general purpose ducking control preset that allows you to do the typical announcement microphone over a playback stream so that it ducks to playback music while the microphone is being used for a paging system or other types of announcements. So we'll look at a few of these. For now, let's just pick, let's say in the speech inputs, I'll bring up the speech mic. So you'll see when I bring up this preset, there's a number of plugins that we use that make up this preset. So I'll just go through these very quickly. You know, there's obviously a lot of detail behind each one of these, but you'll also notice that these are already preset to what we feel is a excellent starting point for the type of use that it's being in. So for a speech mic here, this is really designed around the typical handheld mic that's being used by a speaker in a room, in a forum type of environment. It could be a tabletop mounted mic. And what you'll find here is that if you just kind of look at the plugins, you'll kind of get a feeling of what's happening here in each of the plugins that's used to make this preset for the CA. So the Emo plugin, the Q4, is a very easy to use equalizer. It obviously here rolls off the low end, takes care of some of that rumble and the handheld sounds of a mic. Does a little bit of treatment in the mid range, and then just kind of leaves the high end just flat. It doesn't puts a little bit of a boost in there just to bring back some of the high pitch on that microphone. The next step in this chain is to do a little bit of compression. The RVox plugin from Waves is a very popular, used all around the world for doing just some general compression and dynamic processing for the source. And so in this case, we're just doing some light compression on the vocal just to make it sound a little smoother. To take care of the high end for the S or sh sounds in a voice, we've also put a sibilance control. We call this Sibilance Live. And so we have this also as part of the plugin chain. And then finally, we do the finishing processing with a dynamic equalizer. It's the F6, and this just kind of cleans up everything. You barely see anything here on the knobs because it's just a very light processing, but it just kind of pulls the whole sound of the voice together for the final touch of that processing. Before it's sent on to the next stage of your installation. So let's go ahead and put some signal into this so you see how that's actually set up. So I have my preset chain that I'd like to use. So I'll use this speech mic. And what I want to do is go ahead and set this up. And let's just do something very simple. Let's just take an input, a mono input, of course, for a single mic. And we're going to take it from channel 1 as a nice, easy place to start. And what happens here in Super Rack is it will automatically do the matching patch on the output. So you'll see over here on the left side, we have the Dante channel 1 receive, and this is the input into the preset. And then over here on the right side, you'll see that the output has been matched to transmit channel 1. Now, this can be changed. Any of these can be changed. So if I wanted a different transmit channel to go in my Dante stream, I could certainly select anything. I could say, you know, I don't want one, that removes them all. But maybe I want to send out on Dante channel 7. So I can do that. And as you notice here, I could actually select multiple outputs. So if I want to stream to multiple Dante streams at the same time, I could maybe say, I want channel 7 and I want channel 10. And so now you'll see that when I mouse over here, I've actually set up a route here to take the input stream that's processed and be able to put it onto 2 different streams on my Dante system. So you may want to do this, or you may want to leave this to a matrix router in your system. It's really dependent on how you want to set up your system, but obviously it's very flexible and really allows you a lot of configuration options based again on the types of installations you're doing. So far, there's no audio coming in here. We have the preset selected. We have Dante channel selected. But what we have not done yet is we've not actually put any source onto our Dante network. And we do that with a Dante controller in this case. So I'm going to come back here and switch over to another computer. Now on this computer, I'm running the Dante controller. So this is just the free software from Dante that allows me to set up the routing on my Dante network. So here in my little home studio, I have a very simple Dante network. You can see here on the controller that I have a laptop, that I have 4 Dante streams in and out. I have the CA1000, so here you can see the CA1000, and you see all 16 channels are available. And then I also have another little Dante device, just a 2-in, 2-out analog. It's basically an analog to Dante converter box. It just allows me to, do different things here. Again, a very simple setup, but enough to show the demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select, if you remember, we said, let's take channel 1 of Dante and put audio on it. So I just have a loop of some audio coming off my laptop here. So on my laptop channel 1, I have some audio. So I'm going to patch it here to channel 1 of my CA1000. And once that connects here, which I'm not sure why it does this, there we go. Okay. You'll see that we have the green check mark. Everything shows up good. And while I'm at it, I'll just go ahead and hook up channel 2 also. I don't have anything set up yet on the CA system, but we may use it later. So I'll just go ahead. So now you'll see that I have Dante stream now set up from the laptop channel 1 and 2 to the CA1000 channels 1 and 2. And I won't worry about return paths right now. I'm not bringing a single back, but I would do them in a similar way. I would take the return from the CA1000, and let's say I want to go back to my laptop. I would do something similar where if I wanted, say, channel 7, I could maybe select that. So this is your standard Dante controller. All right. Let's go back to our view of SuperRec. Now, you should see that the audio has actually started here. So I set up my patching, as you remember, to bring in the Dante channel 1. And now, of course, I have audio there. And so you actually see the audio being processed. So now as we look through these plugins in this preset that I walked you through earlier, you can see that we have the audio processing taking place. We can't hear anything right now. I don't have anything set up on the output side, but you can actually see that each one of these plugins is doing its particular type of processing on the system. The other thing that you can see in Super Rack is the total amount of latency that any of these chains or any of your custom chains will add to the stream itself. So in a typical Dante install, you're going to have 6 milliseconds of latency. And of course, that's quite a bit, you know, in the live world, that's almost at the edge of acceptable latency. And so what we do in the Wave CA line is we make sure that these preset chains are as low latency as possible. And here in Super Rack, for this particular chain, you can see that this is a latency addition of 64 samples. So at 48K, sampling 64 samples is very low, especially in comparison to the total network latency in your Dante network of 6 milliseconds. Each of the plugins and each of the presets allows you to see this. And many of our plugins have 0 latency. So if you look down the chain here, I think you can see it here on the screen, but each one of the plugins, you can see what the contribution is of each plugin to that total latency. So you'll see the Q4 equalizer is 0. And in fact, everything is 0 except this RVOX, which is actually providing or contributing all of the latency to the stream. But it's a very important plugin to handle that amount of compression that you just want to bring in to keep the voice from you know, being outside the boundaries that you want to set for the room. So this is a pretty good show of what the plugin looks like, what the routing looks like. Let me go ahead and show you a few other plugins here before we go to your actual you know, direct questions. So I mentioned some of the other microphone inputs. I think that you'll find each of them have some interesting characteristics. So this microphone preset for a handheld mic specifically uses a different equalizer. This is the Q10, which gives you can see a lot more control over all of the bands. So you can see that the presets here have been set up a little bit differently, a little bit more roll off on the low end. You can take this preset and you can start with it, adjust it. You can add, you know, other elements to it. The other piece here is this F6. We talked about it earlier. This one includes a live RTA of the signal, so it makes it, you know, nice for you to be able to see that in some cases. And then finally, it finishes a stream with some light compression here using the C1 compressor. So again, a different selection of plugins, all of these Waves Premium plugins to handle this type of microphone. And you can see the total here, latency is 0. So there's no additional latency using this preset to your stream. Not that the other one had significant latency, but you know, if you have to keep it to a bare minimum, you might use the C1 compressor in place of the RVOX that we were using, but there's a different tonal characteristic to it. So it really depends on the type of installation that you're doing. Another preset that you might find very useful is the QA mic preset. I like to show this one because it features the feedback suppressor plugin. This is our X feedback plugin. This will automatically detect feedback as it occurs and be able to cancel that out on your stream so you don't get any of those annoying feedback tones. The next step is the PSC plugin. This is a very popular plugin, especially here for any type of event that has speakers on microphones, house of worship, churches here in the United States that use Waves use this plugin a lot on the main speaker microphones, just to level out and make the voice sound very natural, very even. And then you'll see the same equalizer that was used on one of those earlier demonstrated presets, the Q4. Again, just doing some basic mic equalization. And then finally, again, a different dynamics processor. This is a D5 that handles the compression, a little gating, all for, again, the type of microphone. So this QA mic is really suited for that audience microphone. It sits out there on a stand at a forum event where you might have an audience member come up and ask the panel a question. So obviously, being out in front of the PA is more likely to pick up some of that feedback, and the reason why we include it here. But of course, you can do anything that you feel is necessary to make these chains work the best for you. Let's switch to some of the output streams, and specifically, I want to show two of them. I mentioned earlier on the Playback Group. Let's take a look at that one here very quickly. The Playback Group, and I have, again, I just have some generic audio coming through, so it's not like a source of music, which you would probably be able to see, obviously, different waveforms happening. But just to step through this very quickly, front-end compression on the audio source coming in. The playlist writer takes care of leveling the sound from any type of sources at any levels. This is extremely important if you have an installation where you could have the user one day bringing in a home recording that the levels are all over the place, and then they put in a professionally recorded CD that's maxed out on the levels. This just brings everything to sound equivalent through the PA system, and you don't get the shock of, oh my gosh, this is way too low, this is way too high. How do we manage this? This will just balance that out for you. And then, as on the microphones, a final processing with the dynamic equalization with the F6. So what if you wanted to actually save something for yourself and reuse it? This is a question that I've been asked a few times. So let's bring up the speech mic again, for example, and let's say that I have a particular type of microphone that I know, when I set it up in the room and I'm listening to it, I need to make some adjustments in the mid-range. So this starting point isn't quite what I want. Maybe I need to bring up the mid-range a bit and bring down the high end. Whatever the changes are you need to make when you have those configured and ready and sounding right, and you say, okay, this is great, and maybe there's something about the microphone that the level of sibilance where you want it to kick in, the threshold changes. Any of these presets can be changed. Any of the plugin parameters can be changed. When you're at the point where you say, okay, this is what I want, and I want to be able to repeat it, maybe not only in this installation, but be able to take it to another installation, I have the ability now for the speech mic, for any of the presets, to be able to save it to something else. So I could save it in a new name. So I come up here and I'm able to name my preset. So again, with an installation as the integrator, you would be able to set up, and I'm going to call this preset test. And so now I'm able to say, okay. I now have, you'll see the test preset. So test is now specifically the configuration parameters that I've set up. So now I have this preset available, and it's now here to pull up on any other stream that I want to use it on. But one of the really powerful features of the Super Rack application is to be able to actually take this preset, save it as a file, and now it'll save off here in my file system. And so I will do the same thing here. I'm going to name it a very clever name like test. Just to be clear, I'm going to call this the test file. And so now I have saved this file to my system. Now, Waves CA systems use Super Rack built on a Windows platform. So all you need to do now is go out of the Super Rack session, which you can do here, and be able to go to the Windows directory where you save that file. So of course you can select any place on there, grab that file, put it on a thumb drive, email it, however you want to get that file to other systems. Okay, I think the two things I haven't talked about yet, if we're okay here, one is streaming and the other is auto mixing. So let's do that very quickly, and then we can move on to some questions here. So let's bring up one of the streamings. I'll just pick Podcast Master. Okay. So Podcast Master is a very simple streaming preset, but it takes care of a lot of situations where you have just a very simple stream that you want to level out. So you may have a mix of people talking and music going back and forth. And so this uses the playlist writer plugin that we talked about earlier. And then all of the streaming plugins, you'll see the WLM Plus plugin being used. And this is a very powerful plugin that allows you to select the type of stream that you're targeting, and it will automatically set within the plugin itself. It has all the presets to set up the particular type of stream that you are looking for. So for example here, I have a whole list. If I want to set up my stream, for example, for a YouTube stream, I can select here, and you will see that it will change the parameters of the plugin, and then it will take care of everything on the back end, including any type of brick wall limiting that has to be done to not exceed the requirements set by the particular stream that you're choosing. There's more complex streaming presets as well. And they bring in additional compression, additional limiting. You'll be able to see some of them here. Main out streaming 1. Wait for it to load, and here we go. So you'll see that the this particular streaming preset starts with a noise limiting NLS channel that helps the signal sound a little better, gives it kind of that extra volume going into the stream, followed by the TG mastering chain from Abbey Road, playlist writer again, and then the WLM Plus that we mentioned before. Okay, last thing I wanted to talk about as we wrap up here is let's take a quick look at doing automatic mixing of multiple microphones. And we do this with the Dan Dugan auto mixing function. So let's just set up a couple of microphone channels here. So I'm going to take a scenario where I have a couple of microphones coming in on different Dante channels just for this demonstration. And for time, I'm just going to set up 2 microphones. Let's take 2 handheld microphones. And if you remember earlier, I set up Dante channel 2 with another audio stream. So you can see now that I have this set up. When I come back to the overview of the streams coming into the CA, you'll see that I can now see both rack 1 and rack 2. And obviously I have signal going there. This is the same signal going to both. I don't have different speakers, but I can at least show you how this works with the Dan Dugan auto mixer. This is automatically included with the Waves CA product. So all you need to do if you want to put auto mixing on any of your microphone channels, you would just select the Dugan selection here in Super Rack. If you are ready to select those channels, you turn on, and then you select here with Dugan SP the particular channels that you want. Now what Dugan does is it automatically mixes the channels so that the speaker who is active, the active speaker, takes the full gain, and the other microphones are basically leveled down. The gain is automatically controlled so that there's no additional background noise, none of the cross-filtering effects that happen with multiple microphones or even phasing. That all gets cut out automatically using the Dugan processing algorithms. And that's built in to CA. So you can have this in this particular environment. If you have this set up on 16 microphones, you can enable Dugan on all 16 microphones in the CA. On the Waves CA 2000, you have up to 64. And so you could do the same thing. You can have all 64 streams be handled by the Dugan processing. That's a pretty large install, but certainly for your typical forum where you may have, 3, 4, 5 speakers around the table, this is a very powerful tool for you to have as part of the installation. Okay, I think, switch back here, but I think that's about everything that I had on my slides. Lost my control. Here we go. Hello. Yeah, this is just an overview of the various presets that are included. And this is also, you can see this on the Waves product website for the CA1000 and CA2000 products. Just covered microphone. So, I'm really pleased with the integrators that I've talked with so far that have actually already started installing the CA products, because it has allowed them to solve some nagging problems that they were having with some of the sound in the facility. And they've taken it, they've been able to get it up and going really in a very short amount of time, because it plugs right into the Dante network that they already have. So whether you have an existing network or you're just creating a new installation, it works very nicely in either way. And in one particular case, the installer told me that they were able to save exactly the preset they wanted and reuse it because they had this setup where they had a very particular type of speaker mic on a round table, and it worked, very, very much flawlessly for them, so that anytime the client came in, turned on the room, that sound was always consistent, always there, and sounded better really the day after they installed it than when they had, when they struggled with the systems before that. That's what I have today. Let's go ahead and change over to questions. Of course, feel free to email the team here, or you can reach out to me directly, of course, with questions as well. Be happy to answer things if we don't get to them today. So with that,
okay, Greg, maybe I'll just help the others to recap a little, okay?
Yes.
Ya, jadi seperti yang tadi kita lihat kan, yang dilakukan sama Waves CA ini kan totally integrating dari inputs, processing hingga ke outputs, di mana dia akan sangat mempermudah kita untuk optimize setiap installation kita, kalau contoh-contohnya sih ya, contoh-contohnya mungkin kayak di instalasi-instalasi untuk rumah-rumah ibadah seperti masjid segala itu kan seringkali orang pasang setiap kali ngidupin harus disetting-setting lagi mikrofonnya seperti apa, outputnya seperti apa, bagaimana dengan mikrofon yang satu dengan yang lain. Nah, di tempatnya Waves CA ini semuanya kesannya udah di set secara fix dan hasilnya akan selalu optimal. Setiap mikrofonnya akan otomatis termanage sendiri, ya kan? Kesannya seperti di mix sendiri tanpa adanya risiko untuk feedback, tanpa risiko noise yang berlebihan. Jadi hal-hal yang akan sangat membantu installer. Kalau kita ngomong di TV station, mungkin TV station yang memiliki beberapa mikrofon digunakan untuk beberapa mikrofon kan, itu bisa jadi hasil akan tetap selalu optimize tanpa harus ada soundman yang standby di sana gitu, karena fitur-fitur yang ada di sana dari noise suppressornya, lalu optimize processingnya, hingga memastikan setiap suara yang keluar itu akan termanage secara level output, ya kan, selalu optimal, baik itu di set untuk kebutuhan YouTube atau memang setiap broadcast TV station memiliki output yang berbeda-beda, itu bisa di set seperti itu dan dia akan automatic leveling setiap output yang ada di setiap processing. Dan masih banyak sekali aplikasi-aplikasi yang bisa dilakukan oleh Waves CA yang difokuskan untuk lebih ke commercial audio and installation. Oke, mungkin sekarang kalau ada pertanyaan-pertanyaan dari teman-teman bisa langsung ditanyakan dan kita bisa tanyakan ke Greg. Please.
Tanya, Mas.
Yap.
Halo.
Mana Pak Bro?
Oke, Mas. Mas nanya, saya di titling aja ya, di subtitle sambil aja ya. Jadi saya dari broadcast, misalkan tadi kan Mas menyebut untuk konsumsi broadcast ya.
Yep.
Misal saya ini broadcast sekarang ngurusin beberapa channel untuk siaran gitu ya.
Oke.
Alat ini apakah mungkin untuk menggantikan finalize equalizer atau limiter atau anyway ya, apapun. Seperti Orban gitu ya. Saat ini saya menggunakan Orban atau Junger gitu ya. Nah, apakah sistem ini bisa menggantikan sistem seperti itu?
Oke, biar saya tanyain ke Greg langsung ya Pak Arjo.
Ya, boleh.
Greg, we have a questions from TV guy because right now he's handling many channels, right? From their TV stations. Is this CA able to equalize all those outputs or replacing the Junger to make sure that all the outputs are the same?
I don't have an exact setup that I think I could do out of the box, but I think we would need to look at exactly the number of channels and the type of leveling that needs to be done.
But basically, it's possible, right? Because with
yes, of course.
daily riders and
yes.
yeah.
Oke.
Ya, Pak Rejo. Jadi memang basically dari apa yang dijelaskan dia memang itu sangat possible dan itu apa namanya? Karena memang processing mereka fungsinya seperti itu, Pak Rejo.
Ya. Oke, Greg. The other question ya. How about with durability? This product live for 24 hour.
I'm sorry for
how if we turn this on 24/7 every day? How
durability?
How do you build this to do that?
Yes. Yeah. So we use a very highly tested embedded version of Windows to manage the platform itself, and then of course Super Rack is meant to run continuously. So the product can either be used where the system is being powered on and off, each day, or it can be left on all the time. We have tested it to stay on where the only time you may power it off is on a monthly maintenance schedule or something. But yeah, you can definitely leave the product on continuously.
Oke.
Gitu Pak Rejo.
Ya, thank you Pak.
Oke, terima kasih.
Sama satu lagi Pak, Pak.
One more question, Greg.
Greg, this is a product from SSL, correct?
Sorry?
From SSL, ya? This
product. SSL, this is Waves. SSL is one of our product that we are carrying for Indonesia, Pak Greg. Sorry, Pak Rejo. Jadi SSL itu brand lain yang kita pegang untuk Indonesia. Waves.
Sorry.
Waves.
Nah,
ya.
Ini bisa nggak? Tadi kan lihat bisa compatible other mixer ya?
Yes, compatible dengan mixer-mixer lain.
Nah, mungkin ada mixer kayak Soundcraft sama ini di combine. Bagaimana dengan kualitasnya? Kan kayak Mercy sama Toyota gitu, Pak. Bagus nggak?
Yang jelas apapun yang di-insert sama Waves kan, Pak, itu bisa optimize sound quality-nya karena memang processing yang diberikan Waves itu super powerful, Pak. Jadi itu nanti kita bisa discuss lebih dalam sama Pak Rejo. Jadi kita punya solusi yang memang khusus digunakan untuk optimize mixernya Bapak yang Soundcraft itu kan. Kita ada solusi lain yang mungkin digunakan untuk mixer Yamaha. Kita punya solusi lain yang jadi kita punya banyak solusi untuk mixer-mixer lain, tetapi di output akhirnya pun CA ini akan sangat membantu untuk equalize everything, Pak.
Siap. Oke, Mas.
Nanti saya kasih demo aja lah, Pak, di sana.
Ya, boleh.
Ya, Pak Rejo.
Okay. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Pak Rejo.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg. Ada pertanyaan lain mungkin teman-teman? Mumpung Greg ada di sini.
Taruh depan aja, nanti titipkan ke di depannya. Kasihkan ini ada apa? Buninis ya. Kasihkan Buninis.
Pertanyaan itu. Kalau Kevin kayaknya itu bukan pertanyaan itu. Ada teman lain mungkin yang mau menanyakan? Tapi teman-teman kira-kira paham nggak dari apa yang dijelasin sama Greg? Paham nggak kira-kira? Paham ya? Jadi memang ini lebih solusinya dari Waves memang banyak, cuman tapi kali ini memang lebih ke installation sama optimizing installation juga untuk kebutuhan balancing live streaming, optimizing live streaming.
Satu lagi Mas.
Oke, Pak Rejo.
Kalau nggak ada pertanyaan, saya kan lagi persiapan ke Dolby nih. Nah, kalau misalkan endingnya pakai CA ini lolos Dolby-nya nggak? Atau Dolby-nya di limited?
Greg, his other questions because his TV station is applying Dolby technology on the TV station standard, right? Is this Dolby will also be processed optimally with this CA because as I see the outputs of the CA is either mono, stereo, or multi-channel outputs, right?
That's right. That's right. And it, I mean, keep in mind that it's always on the Dante network. So, you know, if you wanted to do multiple channels, you would have those multiple streams set up for the processing. But the plugins that we would have are pretty much just the mono and stereo plugins right now for what's included in the set of presets for CA. So, you know, we don't have specifically a 5.1 or a 7.1 type of plugin, but as long as you can take monos or stereos and put them together for your processing, that can be done. Again, the signals in and out on Dante to connect to your broadcast side.
Jadi basicnya plug-innya sendiri kan untuk mono dan stereo, Pak.
Multi-channel.
Tapi selama processing mono dan stereo itu bisa digunakan dioptimize dengan Waves plugins. Tetapi kalau untuk outputnya bisa dilewatin atau apa namanya? Tapi tetap outputnya tetap kondisi multi-channel bisa, Pak Arjo.
Iya. I know. Siap.
Oke. Ya, teman-teman yang lain. Evan mau nanyakan, Pak Indra, Pak Nabil.
Boleh deh, tanya deh.
Oke, gimana?
Wave CA ini apakah bisa dipakai di device lain selain Dante Virtual Sound Card? Itu yang pertama. Yang kedua, CA ini berarti nggak perlu server DSP server lagi ya?
Ya.
Udah satu device doang.
Lagi sih Pak, kalau yang di sini dia udah ini. Okay, Indra has a question for you, Greg. Does the CA has to work in Dante environment?
In the Dante environment, yes.
Yes.
It's built only with the Dante driver for inputs and outputs. There's no other audio signals in CA. You know, if you're familiar with Super Rack, and of course we have SoundGrid, if it's a environment that would support SoundGrid interfacing, and of course our bridge is there to others, but specific for install, right now we're just Dante.
Untuk saat ini memang sementara build untuk Dante, Pak Indra, karena memang instalasi sementara ini kan udah mulai banyak power yang menggunakan Dante, ya kan? Jadi untuk sementara ini memang mereka masih build untuk Dante.
But Greg, am I correct in saying that they could use like a converter from AudioNet, AVO, or Neutrik converters to go from analog to Dante to have this?
Yes, if they have an analog network now and they want to add the processing, it would be a matter of adding the conversion. So something like a Neutrik or an AudioNet AVIO device to convert into Dante and then be able to do the processing and then convert back to analog. So I may be misunderstood, but yes, if you just want to take analog signals, convert them to Dante to do the processing, and then convert back out to analog, that's of course possible.
Ya, jadi tadi Raffi sedikit menambahkan ya. Jadi katakanlah kalau kita memang udah memiliki beberapa jaringan analog gitu kan. Sekarang ini kan ada beberapa konverter. Cuman konverter AVIO yang cuman 2 in 2 out, 1 in 1 out itu kan, yang dari AudioNet sendiri, mereka dari Dante sendiri mereka keluarin, itu bisa digunakan untuk proses melalui si Waves CA ini tadi selama mereka masuk ke Dante, karena sementara Waves CA bekerja hanya input Dante, output Dante.
Oke, thank you.
Oke, thank you Pak Indra. Oke, ada pertanyaan lain lagi mungkin teman-teman? Kalau belum ada pertanyaan lagi, kita nanti bisa email langsung ke kita, message langsung ke kita. Kalau memang ada aplikasi-aplikasi yang butuh lebih dalam kan untuk di trial bersama, atau kita bisa Zoom meeting lagi khusus untuk aplikasi-aplikasi tertentu, jangan sungkan untuk menghubungi kita ya, juga jangan sungkan untuk menghubungi Greg ya. Karena kita di sini kita lihat ada yang beberapa yang fokus di theater, ada yang fokus di convention, iya kan. Kita lihat ada yang dari instalasi, kita lihat ada dari TV. Jadi karena ini masih general, jadi mereka untuk hari ini mereka juga lebih discuss tentang sesuatu yang lebih general. Nanti untuk aplikasi yang lebih detail, nanti kita akan discuss untuk apa namanya lebih spesifik ke sana. Gitu ya teman-teman ya. Oke, mungkin maybe do you want to add anything, Rafi or Greg?
Thank you. I'm glad you were able to spend the time. And yes, please send, if you have questions afterwards, please send them on to the team, and we can answer them directly for you.
Okay, that's great. Maybe before we finish, we can take photograph together.
Yes.
Ya, teman-teman bisa bisa bantu hidupin apa namanya kameranya, biar kita bisa foto bersama-sama.
There we go.
New
background.
Yes. Halo. Oke, kita kita ambil foto. Tommy udah siap, Tom? Ambil fotonya bersama, Tom? Siap ya? Kenapa? AFK. Oke, Tommy siap ya? 1, 2, 3. Oke. Udah? Satu lagi. 1, 2, 3. Oke, mari kita kasih tepuk tangan dulu buat si Greg ya. Thank you, Greg, for spending your time with us and share about Waves CA, and hopefully that we will be able to share with them more. And if there are more questions about Waves CA,
yes.
I will forward it to you, or I believe they already have your email, so they can also email it to you directly.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oke, once again, thank you everyone. Terima kasih semua. Semangat terus ya. Semangat terus. Tetap berkarya. Kita lewatin pandemi ini bersama. Oke?
Sip, amin.
Everybody.
Thank you everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Oke. Sampai ketemu lagi.